Are you one of those leaders who really wants to make a difference in the work you do and sometimes gets really frustrated because you don't know what you're doing wrong or what you need to do better or how to start to really impact your team and make a difference in your organization and the mission critical work that you do? Today, we're going to talk about the 5 key competencies you need to work on to be that high impactful leader and also find fulfillment in the work you do. Welcome to the Surviving to Thriving podcast that helps women leaders in nonprofits get out of survival mode and thrive in both leadership and life. I'm your host, leadership development coach Kathy Archer, and I help women leaders enjoy impactful leadership. As you move up the ranks from frontline into team leader, into leader to coordinator to manager, director, whatever position you're in, you start to take on more responsibilities and you start to be more responsible for people, meeting contractual obligations. And the way in which you do that is very different than the way in which you did your frontline work. And yet you've probably not had a ton of training and support to change the way you're working to meet those expectations. You're not doing frontline work anymore. You are leading the company, the organization, the team. You are taking them someplace. How do you do that? What are the skills and competencies that you need to have to do that? Today, I'm going to take you through a high-level view of the 5 competencies that you need to do that. These come out of the work from the Leadership Circle, and it is a 360 assessment that I do with many of my leaders that gets the feedback from the team, but also from the individual to see how they're doing. And this comes from years of research around what makes a good leader. What are the things that come out that help them to do high fulfillment work and meet the needs of the organization? So the 5 areas are achieving results, building relationships, having a systems focus, having some self-awareness, and leading with courageous authenticity. Those 5 combined, when you learn how to be that type of leader, you're going to make an incredible difference. So I want to walk you through a high-level view of those, and then in the coming sessions, I'm going to dive deeper into each of them. So the first one is achieving results. The thing that we need to do is meet our mission, our goals, and the work we're supposed to do in our organization. We're designed, we created this nonprofit, this organization, this team to do something, to have work make a difference for our clients, to have our work change things in the community. We need to do that. We also need to meet our contractual obligations. That's all about the goals, the outcomes, the things that we need to do. And if you are leading your organization and you're not meeting the goals, hitting those targets, you're going to struggle as a leader. That's one of the first things that the outside world is certainly looking for. They're measuring, they are evaluating how well you're doing on that, and they want to know that you as a leader are able to meet those targets. In order to meet those targets, you got to have a good team. So you've got to be great at building relationships and helping your team develop and grow and, making the team work together and dealing with those conflicts and, building that sense of culture in your organization where the people work together and continue to grow and develop. So on one hand, you're meeting the targets, but you need your team to do that. The third one is really around that systems awareness. You need to understand how all the moving parts are working together. You have to have that strategic focus. You need to focus on your community. You need to know how all of the moving parts fit together. You need to have your finger on the pulse in the sector, what's changing in the the world as a whole. You kind of need to be able to step back and be strategic, make those decisions, move forward in that bigger picture area. Far too many leaders are head down dealing with day-to-day stuff. And if you're going to be really a highly effective leader, you got to get your head out of that day-to-day stuff and see things from a bigger perspective. Create that vision, take your team someplace, get a sense of where you're going, see how all the parts move together. And in order to do those 3 things, achieve results, have a great team, have that systems focus, you need to be self-aware. You need to do some of the work to build your emotional intelligence, that social intelligence piece. You got to know how all of the things fit together. You got to know your triggers and know when to manage your emotions. You need to be balanced. I mean, if you are burned out, you're not going to be able to do those other 4 things. So you need to be able to take care of yourself, but also go inside and grow from within. Really, the most effective leaders are very self-aware. They've got a sense of what's going on for them. And then, of course, the final step really is around that courageous authenticity. You need to lead authentically. You need to lead with honesty. You need to lead with integrity. And man, if you're going to lead with that sense of that moral compass where you're making some of those really tough decisions, then you need to really be clear on what your values are, what your ethics are, what your morals are, and then have the courage to have those conversations, to make those really hard decisions. I was talking to a client just recently who's making some decisions around how do you do your work with the COVID restrictions that are in place. And you can hem and haw and go back and forth and, ask this person and get this person's perspective and wonder if you're meeting this person's needs or not. But at some point in time, you need to make a decision, and it's not going to make everybody happy. So that achieving results piece is really that decisive decision making. Get all the facts and then make a decision quickly, whether or not it's like the absolute right decision or not. You need to move forward. You can't wait forever to make a decision. So you make a decision. You're going to have that strong relationship with your team. You're going to have that systems awareness where you know what's going on in the sector. You know what the rules are. You know what your community is all about. You know the strengths of your team. You're going to know how that's all fitting together. And then you're going to be very self-aware, manage your own personal perspectives on the thing. You're going to know how to be emotionally in control of stuff because people are going to push back. And then this piece around this courageous authenticity is having the courage to, voice what the decision is, take that feedback from people, but really being able to step out of your comfort zone and say what needs to be said, even though it's hard, even though there's going to be pushback, even though people aren't going to like it. That's that courageous authenticity. So all of those 5 moving parts, the really making sure you're achieving results, having that strong team to do that, making sure you've got that systems awareness, that self-awareness, and then that top piece really is leading with authenticity and being courageous in the work that you're doing. Those 5 things are really about the top things in what I had said earlier, come out of the leadership circle profile that help you lead in a high achievement, high fulfillment way. I get stuff done and I feel good about it and I live a balanced life. And again, that's a tool that I do with some of the people I work with. If you're interested in that, let me know. If you go onto the Leadership Circle site, and I'll put the link in the notes, you'll find a self-assessment that helps you evaluate how you think you're doing in these 5 areas, which are the 5 key competencies that help you, again, to high fulfillment and high achievement leadership. But it'll also help you look at what the undercurrent of the things that might get in the way of you doing these things. So you can do that self-assessment for free on your own. The full 360 is something I do again. So if you're interested in that, let me know. But this is a good first step. Really get a sense of where you are and how you do. When you do the full 360, one of the things that I think, like I had said earlier around this self-awareness piece, one of the things that this particular tool looks at that I love is how other people evaluate you compared to how you evaluate yourself. And this is really where the self-awareness comes in. This is where many of our blind spots are. We think we're doing great with integrity, which is where I was many, many years ago, but my team didn't evaluate me that way. Or we think we're doing really good at achieving results, but maybe your board or the community doesn't see it the same way you do. And when you can start to see those gaps in from what you see to what others see, that really identifies the areas that you need to work on and you need to shore up and build up so that what you think you're doing as a leader matches what other people think you're doing as a leader. Because when we talk about your reputation, your character, how people define you, that's in many ways more important than how you define yourself. I know we always talk about it doesn't matter what other people think, but in leadership it does, because people are going to follow you, become really those avid followers really get behind you and rally behind the cause if they believe in you. And so what they think about you and how you lead matters. And so if you want to be the most effective leader, you really need to knuckle down and get a sense of what your people think. So this is one tool you can use, but you can just sit down with your team and get some really good feedback one-to-one. Tell me where I need to do more work. Tell me what's working for me. Tell me what you want me to stop doing, start doing. Have those conversations with your team, your board, your community, your supervisor, if you have somebody that manages you. But you need to get a sense of what other people think about you, because we live in this little bubble and we think this is what we're projecting or putting out there. And in truth is that's often not the case. And that's why we start to have trouble, because what we think we're doing isn't landing. It's not coming across the same way. And I've heard people say this again and again. I'm telling them to take responsibility for, making decisions, but they're not doing it. I don't understand, because there's a gap there. And we need to figure out what that gap is. What are people getting and what are you thinking you're putting out there? What's the gap? And how do we start to build up those competencies in that area? So this is a really good assessment for you to look at to figure that out. So as I said, those are the 5 key areas. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to dive deeper into each of these so that you can get a better understanding if that's an area you want to work on in terms of what can I do to work on that. In the training library, my membership site, I'm going deeper into each of these sections over the next few weeks to really help you, if you're a student of mine, apply it. What is it that I need to do? Where do I need to work? And really develop particularly that self-awareness place. If you need to work on the courageous authenticity, where are you not showing up fully? And we'll start to dive deeper into that. And so if you're not in the training library, if you want to, it's kathyarcher.com/library. But if you're not in the training library, what I really encourage you to do is do some self-reflective work. This takes some time sitting down, looking deeper, really getting a sense of what's going on for you so that you can make these changes to be that most effective leader. Because the thing is, I know you show up at work every day because you want to make a difference, and you get tired and getting bogged down in the day-to-day, and it's frustrating you and you don't know what to do sometimes. And here's the thing. What you need to do is slow down. You need to take some time, step back, get out of the day-to-day, whacking those moles and putting out fires, and start to do some of this self-reflective piece. Start to do some strategic thinking. Start to do some deeper dives into what's going on in the inner workings of you and the inner workings of your organization. And that's, my dear, where you'll start to get out of survival mode and move to thriving in both your leadership and your life. Go make the rest of your day awesome, my dear. If you found today's episode helpful, then you are going to love the training library. Many women leaders in nonprofits wish that they had a coach or a mentor to help them, but they don't believe that they or their organization can afford it. Oh, but you can. Inside of the training library membership site, you will not only get access to affordable and easily accessible ongoing personal and professional development training, you will also have access to a leadership coach at your fingertips. That way, when you hit those inevitable challenges that leadership will bring your way, you'll have both the resources and the support to navigate your way through them with confidence, composure, and while keeping your integrity intact. To find out more, head to kathyarcher.com/library. If you are enjoying the show, I'd love it if you could leave me a comment or a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks for listening. Go make the rest of your day awesome.